Good evening, gentlemen. Today I'm going to show you how to set up auto bed leveling. Before we go on, there's a little bit confusion here. Auto bed leveling does not really automatically leveling your bed. What actually this thing does is it will detect how much and how your bed tilted, and then from there, while it's printing, it will compensate the Z height to give you a good print. Before you move on, you have to print one of those pieces. You can find this piece in the zip file. Now, next step is you need to take this piece out. We're not going to need it, but we're going to need this cable connector here. Now, welcome to my little drawing board. So this proximity sensor have 3 cables, and they labeled as brown, black, and blue.
Okay, so let's say this is a little proximity sensor, and black and a blue.
So the brown need to connect to 12 volt
power supply, and let's say this is the power supply, and this is 12 volt power supply of your printer, and this is 0 volt. So
the blue need to connect to the ground, and this black here is a little tricky. We have this positive here. It's gonna connect to our little optical coupler, and this black here need to connect to a current limiting resistor of our coupler. And in this optical coupler, there's a on and off switch here, like a little transistor that will connect to the connector, which is this connector. When this proximity sensor get close to the heating board, 2 things gonna happen. One is this LED will light up, and second is this black will become grounded, so the current can flow from here to here, through here to here. This is a little optical coupler I'm gonna use. For this optical coupler, you can easily find the datasheet on the internet. Just search for PC817 sharp. And I have this little miniature datasheet here. All you need to know is the pin number. This is the 1, this is the 2, the current flow in this direction, and the 4 and 3 will connect to our switch. But make sure this red one is connected to 4 and the black one is connected 3. Not like the mechanical switch, the current can flow both ways. In this one, the current only flows one way. And also another thing you need to know is it has 40 milliamp maximum forward current through this little diode here. With a 12 volt power supply, you need a resistor at least like 300 ohms, but I would just put a 400 or 500 ohm resistor just to make it safe. Now here we are exposing the 3 wires of this little proximity sensor. I don't have a desired resistor laying around, so I just connected 2 220 ohm resistor in series. So they add up to 440 ohm, and that should work for me. So I'm connecting those resistors to the black wire, as you can see here. I'm gonna put the shrink tube around it, and that should be long enough. Oh, it's not big enough. Okay, fine. Now let's grab the bigger shrink tube and put it around those resistors. Now let's solder those resistor to this little optical coupler here. Now I already got the switch soldered on, so again, red wire is connected to here and the black wire connected to here. And here's a little indicator here, tells you the orientation. Make sure they're, just give a little bit of solder on the pin, so that will help.
Now we have this guy soldered. Let's heat it up. Where's my little high-tech heat gun here? It's gonna be a little messy, but it works. Who cares? Treat it with some respect. Yep. That's good enough.
Now we need to solder this guy here to the brown wire. And also the brown wire need to connect to the power supply. I have this extra long cable laying around here, so I'm just gonna strip this white guy here. That's a little racist, isn't it? A white wire here. And I'm gonna use this white cable connect to the 12 volt. So
I'm gonna twist.
twist those two together and then solder this to here. Looks good. I'm using the vise holding this camera here, so that's why I don't have a vise. And this is what you do without a vise. Come on. Use your finger as a vise. Now, the black wire of this sensor here is connected. Now the blue wire need to connect to the ground. So I'm gonna connect this blue wire with this black wire here.
Why am I using my finger? And before we twist them up, let's put the shrink tube on it first. That shrink tube is about too long. That's not a C4, that's just my multimeter. Alright. Heat it up really good.
Now we have all those connected, and we can move on to the power supply. Just make sure you don't touch those hot wires there, and you can touch that one because it's neutral. And those three are the ground, and those three are the 12 volts. Let's connect the white cable to the 12 volt. And the black one to the ground. Again, don't touch the hot wire. Actually, you know what? I touched the hot wire before while it's hot, but Yeah, I got electrified, but it's not that bad. You know, you can touch that for a short amount of time. Oh, get in there, baby. Yeah. Alright, now we close the lid so no one touch it. Now, like what I said, if this get close to it, two things are gonna happen. The LED will light up. That's good. To test the optic coupler, we need to use our multimeter. Set your multimeter to the continuity. Now, if you touch those two, it will conduct. Okay. If you know how to use chopsticks, that shouldn't be too hard for you. And this is the worst chopsticks I ever used. This is a metal.